Right. All right, so let's get into this. So, what is the goal for today? Well, a quick recap from last week, last stream. Something like one of those morning shows. So, what happened last time is that I was going through this tutorial, a Udemy tutorial, not sponsored, by the way. Important to say. I think I forgot to say that last time. I'm not sponsored by Udemy to kind of prep up this class. I just like it. The things we did last week was we were working on, let's just have a recap. Did you see it? So we were doing some triggers. We actually had it working. So when the player enters, if it had the right tag, we got it working. There we go. Welcome back, Twitch. Just going through recap. Roberto, morning. Do I keep a checklist for my game? You have to, or nothing else will ever gets finished. In a sense, I do. I do try to have like a what's it called? Like a task list. It's by no means finished or even refined at this stage. I just borrowed one online, kind of pasted down. I'm still on the. That's It's still early in the morning. So short answer is yes, I do keep a checklist as a task list, but right now that is incomplete, and I need to have another look at it, and I'll do that soon. I just want to get the GD to a higher level before I do that, because right now I'm not really sure how to proceed with the MVP. So I'm going to do that over the weekend. And yeah, you use a Trello app to keep me on track. Yeah, exactly. That's a good. That's a good one. Trello. You have Hack and Plan, which I can also recommend. That is more for gamers or devs. It's a bit more complicated than Trello, I'd say, but in a good way. You can also do it through Google Docs, although not what I would recommend. The upside would be if you have a Google Doc GDD and you share that with others, then having that in the same document could help. But then again, if you only do MVP stuff, then yeah, whatever you want to use works. What else do you have? Of course, you have Jira. No, I can't really recommend that one, at least not for people who don't have larger companies. What else do we have? Yeah, there's a few of them. Keeping track of stuff. It's a Notion. Yeah, you got Notion. That is one. I can recommend Notion, to be honest. If you like being a bit hacky, it's Notion isn't, in my mind, very user friendly, to be honest. I've used it for a while now to keep track of other stuff. It's a bit, the UI is a bit old in my mind. The way I look at it, it's a bit old. But yeah, all right. So that was a poor summary about me. But in the end, we got somewhere, and it's not working. We do have a trigger, so we're going to keep on working on that. It's not a lot left on the tutorial. Well, to be honest, it's quite a lot, but each video is quite kind of short, no more than 10 minutes. I think the longest one is 11. Yeah, I got 11. Yeah, 12 minutes. So that will be fairly quick. I usually go with the 3 times the length of a video type of stuff. I mentioned that last time. A few of these we can kind of skip. There's one called Collision 101. I know what a collider is. I'll probably skip that one or just quickly blast through it. A few of these, I have no idea what they do. Like keep count, I'm sure what that is. So we're going to have a look at that. And in a second, I need to do this. So now I can actually hear the tutorial. What else? No, I think we're kind of up to date. So I'm just going to get into it and get started. Oh, what? No, I pressed something. Not sure what I pressed. Coffee. Okay, so keep count is number of actors or activators on top. Kriya Strike on? Tell me a story? You want me to tell you a story? Dude, about what? I have no stories. How you doing, by the way? Welcome. What the hell? Tell you a story. I never had that request before. I'm not sure why we keep count with this. You prefer it over saying hello. Oh, fair enough. I'll keep that in mind. I might get like collect a few stories then in future. Although we can do this. Let's see if this works. I haven't tried this in a long time. Does this work, by the way? This is redeem. Oh, I did. Oh, oh, I redeemed it. Yeah, thank you. That's should that happen? Should that really happen? Should my redeems show up on screen? Can I stop that somehow? I don't want me trying out redeems and all of a sudden this pops up. All right, all right. That's weird. So what are you working on, Kriya Stricken? I need to learn what Kriya Strike on. Stricken? Kriya Stricken. I think we can go with that. What are you working on, by the way? I saw you followed a few days ago, so really appreciate that. I'm curious. All right. So we're keeping track of the number of, we're going to keep track of the number of activators on the trigger. I'm not sure if that is necessary, but it is tutorial, and in my experience, kind of trying to follow along tutorials will help in the long run, because otherwise you'll end up having like these confusion moments where like, why are you doing this? Where is this coming from? So I'm just going to do it. You're working a cutscene. Okay. Have we? No, we haven't talked. Your first chat. I was kind of thinking, did you mention this before? But you were. God damn it! Still morning. That earlier chat was your first chat, so I'm assuming we haven't really talked about this before. But you're. God damn! I'm need to take a break. Oh god damn! Now my brain is waking up. Yeah, right, right. You were working on it when I raided it. I was the one raiding you, not the other way around. Or you didn't come to me, I came to you. That's the thing. Yeah, there you go. All right, now it's clicking. Right, how did that go, by the way? Did you manage to get it done, or did you put it on the side for now? Which understandable. We have to do this every now and then. Um, where are we? Use trigger. Yeah, there you go. Its function just needs a polish. Awesome. That's a great state to be in. We don't want that. We want visible anywhere. It's going to be an int 32. What was it? Activate account. There we go. All right, and it needs to be. There we go. Up. So we got that. Oh, okay, that makes sense. So we're going to the overlap begins, and in the if statement, if it's found these, let's see. You're showing it to people, getting mixed reactions, mainly positive. That's nice. That's a good thing you're showing it, though. Then you could get the feedback. And your feedback is positive. That's awesome. Has it given you any clues on where to go next? Like where you want to, like what part of the cutscene you want to polish? Activate account. Let's see. I'm going to do something. I think I can do that, right? That means the same as actually writing or typing in activate plus, I believe. Then I should be able to do this. There we go. Exactly. So this part keeps track of objects entering or actors entering, activators entering the overlap, and this one keeps track of them leaving. I ran a little up. You just need to add some environmental art and maybe some particles. Okay, so it's a visual type of thing. Yes, it's just dangle some keys in front of people. Awesome. That is, I'd say, probably the easier feedback, like the easier thing to kind of work on and like be action. Where am I going with my mind right now? Take action on. It's easier to do the environment art and particles, still relatively, of course, than some uh, abstract concept. Am I making sense? Probably not. It is like 6:15 Friday. Everything is like working against me right now. Of course, I could do that. Oh, that makes more sense. I'm gonna keep it as is. Yeah. I mean, he showed me another trick, which I mean that is probably everyone knows about this. Is that is you can just add two plus plus, like that same thing. This is the same as the one above. So, yep, that makes sense. All right, let's try it out. And I need to let's do that. Is everything looking all right? Yeah, it is. Let's turn off Unreal because I need to launch it through Rider. And Krestricken, when I was there, joined you last time. Did I? I think I did. Can you remind me of what the game is you're working on? Because I had to leave because I had work. So I can't remember if you ever got the chance to introduce a game. It's an adventure game. Okay, cool. I do remember you had worked on it quite some time, right? On and off, like for a few years. So let's do this. So the idea then is in trigger, hopefully, what we will be able to see down here somewhere is activated count. So this part right there is 0. So if I enter, it should be 1. Level progression, isometric, overworld, similar to Super Mario World. There you go. Awesome. That's a cool, sounds like a cool game. Let's do that. And I'm just going to press F8 so I can select the cube. There we go. I'm going to go to trigger so we can see, hopefully. Where's it again? There we go. Activated count. So if I do this, oh, I need to do F8. There we go. It's down on it. Do another F8. Cube, trigger, and scroll down. There you go. Yeah, seems to be working. Valveless Alarm, welcome. Thank you for the follow. You're amazing. And we're going to step off. And hopefully, if I do F8 again, click, click, scroll, scroll. I need to, there should be a way to kind of sort these things, right? Remember. Oh, trigger. That makes sense. And yeah, there we go. It works. Oh, my throat is kind of always fighting me in the morning. All right, so let's transition back to Rider. And also, I'm going to go back to, of course, I'm going to go a few more. Hmm. Yeah. Don't want to do the challenge. Oh, okay, that makes sense. Yep. Yeah, checking if the activate count is 0, which makes sense. So if we do the double and router gives us this. Perfect. And I'm assuming we're doing this because in the future I've gone ahead and looked at the future videos. We're gonna have a small object, static mesh, being the trigger to this entire thing. So I'm assuming we're going to have to keep track of the number of triggers in the box itself. Though for my future game, that is not going to be super important, apart from maybe keeping track of at least one. But then we can use the bool to keep track of that, which means we could just have the system as it was earlier. All right, but that's fine. That's something new. Like I do need some refreshers to these things, so that was nice. Mm-hmm. All right, so now we're going to make a blueprint, which makes a ton of sense. Okay, I'm just going to speed through this thing. Okay, so that's how he's going to do it. I mean, that makes sense. Material stuff, yeah. Wait, what was that? Did he add something? I've never seen this before. Oh, I didn't know this. Oh, that's a cool, neat trick. Okay, let's have a look at that. So simply put, what we're going to do is create a blueprint for the pressure plate. So we're going to do this. Let's just call it pressure plate. No, we're not going to do a folder. We're going to do a blueprint. And I believe he just used an actor. So we're going to do BP, pressure plate. Let's see. Let's just double check that he actually created actor. I believe he did, but it's always good to double check. Yep, I made an actor. Makes sense. And I'm just going to skip back where I was. Come on, there you go. So the thing he did, which is something I didn't know you could do on Unreal, was that in this menu up here, you can actually add a floor. I didn't know that that came by default, which is nice. I kind of missed that part, to be honest, when it came to blueprints. So let's go to default route, just to add a cube. There we go. Let's move that up. Can I, by the way, is this still working inside a blueprint? It's not. Okay, good to know. So if you, when you're in a scene level or a viewport, like in my sandbox right here, if I add a cube, let's do it quick. Let's add a cube and I move it up a bit like this. But I want it to be flush with the floor or what's ever beneath it. Like in this case, the floor. I just press the N key and that should snap it down. It's a quick shortcut to snap things to other objects, at least downwards. Otherwise, I think there is a snap function, but I rarely use that in Unreal. I'm not sure why. Let's make this 0.1. That's fine. Let's move it down. How far would that be? If I make it 3, that goes all the way down like that. If I make it 4, 5 is fine. Oh, that makes sense. But 0.1 on a 1 by 1 cube, 1 by 1 by 1 cube, which is a meter from in each unit, which makes sense. That makes it 10 centimeters tall and halfway through that. Yeah, that makes sense. And on this cube, we're going to attach something else. And that is, if I can spell, attach a trigger component or box, which we've made. Awesome. Yeah, it's showing me a lot of stuff I already know. Let's just skip that ahead. Okay, there you go. So the thing we're going to do now is simply, wait, I'm just going to confirm one thing. Okay, he has to trigger outside. It's not. You do that, attach, there we go. So let's go to extent. Let's make this, I don't know, 2 centimeters. That makes sense. And let's go to top view. And then there's a shortcut for going to top view, which is Alt J, or you can just go through the menus. Let's make this roughly the same size. 48, 48. I guess I could make it perfectly fit. Actually, let's not make it that. Let's do 45, 45, so I don't accidentally kind of trigger it just by being nearby. Go back to G. Let's go to K. Alt K to go side view. It's down. Yeah, that works. Alt G to back to perspective. And let's do a compile. Let's do save of all. So this pressure plate, we could delete that. Let's move in my blueprint instead. That trigger box is kind of annoying. 250, 1050, minus 25. That is also annoying. Should I move everything up? Because it's just beneath the grid right now. That's annoying. Yeah, let's do that. So let's move everything up. I'm not sure by how much. So let's add a snap function. We go snap. Let's do fives. Two, three, four, five. Something like this. Yeah, that works. Perfect. Move actor is null pointer because, all right. So if I click this, I might be moving ahead of the tutorial right now, but that's fine. So the trigger, we're going to go down to move actor. So we've added this variable right there. So what I need to do is pick the door or the actor I want to move is pressure plate. Can't remember. Yes, it is a pressure plate. Right. And is triggered? No, because we're going to do that once we walk on it. Successfully found the move actor component at door. Yeah, there you go. You're working. There you go. Perfect. And step off. Awesome. Now he wants us to design a puzzle. Not sure if we need to do that. So I'm going to skip that part. Same principle if I just... Yeah. Awesome. Cool. Skipping. Yeah, I can just go to the next one. Perfect. That's cool. So we got that working. And how would I use this in my game, though? So the game I'm working on, it's meant to be grounded in reality, or I call it grounded horror. That's not my descriptor, I guess. It's probably used before, but that is what I've used in my GDD. And having a pressure plate to have something like a door or an object move up and down I mean, it is possible to do that in reality, right? That's where the grounded part comes in. Is it grounded in reality? Which is possible, of course, but at the same time, I just don't feel like it is something I want to add. I might have to, depending on how fun it is, but that is future decision. So for now, this is purely me trying to learn. I'm not going to use this particular mechanic, but in the future or soon, we'll be learning how to pick up stuff. So that's going to be interesting and really helpful because I want to do things like grab keys, perhaps, and move objects from one place to another to finish off like puzzles or just move stuff away from the player's path, right? Uh, Crash Striker, what the hell is that emote? I can't really tell what it is. Is that a bird? It's really cute. Let's see. A collectible item. Okay. Don't like challenges. I want to know what to do. Okay. So you still have to learn how to grab keys and open doors. Well, there you go. I've opened the door for you. No. Yeah, well, yeah, exactly. That I'm not at kind of at the same level. This door isn't the door I want. I want the door that swings open. I do have another tutorial lined up. One I haven't watched yet, so I'm not sure how well it is or good or relevant it is for me. But it is specific in the sense that it's looking at the amnesia stuff. Uh, so that's why that's gonna be a fun part when I go to that tutorial, learn how to do the amnesia stuff because I feel that could be more interesting for a game like this to have that physical, like you have to actually push open something. With the key, my bad. Okay, yeah, I kind of got the sense though when you said grab keys and open doors. I kind of got the sense though, so you're fine. We're gonna lurk, please. All right, thanks, Chris. Yeah, Chris Rickon, and yeah, I'll be here. I'll just be as lurk on, lurk on. I need to fix my coffee consumption. I need more coffee because it's empty. I do like make 2 cups of coffee. Well, the Scandinavian version of 2 cups, and I do believe that is kind of like maybe 1 cup equals 2 cups in most of the world. But yeah. Are you wanting a slowly open door like Indonesia? I want to have the same similar feeling. Yeah, exactly. I feel that could help. Maybe not the because okay. So what I've seen in Amnesia, I like the atmosphere it gives, the slowly opening doors and moving stuff like um, drawers and similar. But I've also seen some frustrations with that. People kind of not being able to grab properly and open up stuff. So it kind of depends. I will try it. I will add it to the game and do some play tests, like personal play test, or send it off to a few friends. Maybe even make it available for people online. But yeah, certainly I will try the amnesia sense like system, like how it feels. Then if it doesn't feel right, I'll try something else. Maybe if you walk up at it and you click, it'll open up. I just want this specific feeling when you open it. But that is still in the works. Try to figure out what to do with it. Right. Tools, new C++ class. And of course, need to be actor. Next. I'm assuming collectible as in I can collect it, right? Duh. Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, makes sense. So OBS, transition over to JetBrain. And oh, why is it always defaulting to that monitor? I don't know. So in the header for collectible, we're going to have a new public, was it? Yeah, why public though? Not sure why. But this is going to be your property. Was it editable? Edit anywhere? Yeah, edit anywhere. Because we need a f string called, oh, it needs to be f string. It's not tag, it is, what did we call it? Item name, right? Fair enough. No default. There we go. All right. There are so many people making hard games, including me. Yeah. What do you hope to make yours? What do you hope will make yours stand out? So the game I'm working on is kind of a personal project, to be honest. So I'm not super concerned to stand out right now. I'm not trying to make something that will sell, or I might even make it free, depending on a few things. Yes, I do want to make this a proper game so that when people play it, they like what I've been doing, and in the future want more, right? Of course, I want that. I like the idea of giving games to people that they like. But if have I considered whether or not this will be something like, oh, this will take my studio to the next level? I can now hire people, the typical rant, right? No, I have not. Not at this level, at least. I don't know. One thing is theme, I think. Um, I did consider. So when I started on the GDD, I was looking at making this typical Victorian era toy maker stuff. So it involves toys, involves grounded horror, involves Victorian era. Pretty much done before. Just using the same used or popular themes as before, and then just add my touch to it. Right. The other day, though, maybe like 3 or 4 days ago, I kind of got the idea that maybe I should just go even further with the idea of what I'm familiar with. I don't know the Victorian era. I didn't live in it. I haven't studied it. I haven't really looked into more than what I've seen like in games. So maybe I should just push that to the side and instead work with what I have here at home, which is Scandinavian stuff. And one thing I have experience with is during wintertime is walking outside in the dark. Out like so I mentioned this before. My parents, they're from the countryside. And each time I go home during winter, it's always the same thing. When the dogs need to go outside. And during winter and on the countryside, you do not have streetlights. And of course, you don't have sun, or rarely do you see the moon up. For some reason, I don't know why. The moon, for some reason, doesn't do anything to lighten up your path for you, unless it's full moon. That's another story. But it's completely black, pitch black. You can't see even your hand in front of you. So I want to kind of play into that. If we go back to the 1800s or early 1900s in Sweden, where there were no electricity, all you had was a light source, like a small, like maybe not a torch, but a lantern with you. So kind of going to that part, that era of Scandinavian Sweden. So probably will lean into that more. So I'll update my GDD document over the weekend to probably fit into that more. So yeah, hopefully that rant kind of answers your question. Uh, I'm not really planning on making it stand out. I'm just picking something I like and go with it. Yep, makes sense. Awesome. All right. I'm listening to him explaining how we should create tags inside blueprints. Oh, sorry, in the code rather than blueprint. The ups and downs with it. And now he's just talking about race. We know about race. So please, let's move on. Okay, that makes sense. So tags, which is array. It is a default feature for coding in Unreal. I'm assuming that is a decent explanation of what it is. And add is just us saying, hey, I want to add something to that array. And in this case, I want to add collectible. What's a collectible item? Let's just follow what he's doing. Yeah, collectible item. So using the predefined tag feature, using the function add, then in parentheses or in parentheses and quotations, just do a string of the name collectible. So hopefully when I'm just gonna have to go to Unreal quickly, do a save, go back, close Unreal because we've been in the header and we also created a new class, so we should probably just restart Unreal. And if I do this, hopefully, if I go to, wait, how would I show that? I could probably just create a new cube and just add, but it's an actor. How does that make sense? Can I just drag and drop it? Because it's an actor class. I can just drag and drop it, right? Let's try that. Otherwise, I probably could just create a blueprint and assign that in class default, is it? Let's just try it out. There we go. Go to engine. No, yeah. Isn't there meant to be a source folder for engine? Hmm. Should be, right? But for some reason, I can't see it. No, I know what it is. I think, or at least I think I know what it is. It is, yeah, I need this filter. I'm filtering out C class. There you go. There we go. There you go. Public. Yeah, exactly. There you go. Collectible. I should be able to just drag and drop. And there we go. It is a right there. And I should be able to go to tags, right? There you go. Perfect. It's right there. I'm a game dev. I'm learning. Well, being game dev is easy, right? You just have to do what everyone else is doing. Mm-hmm. So he's creating a blueprint class right now. Pretty much, yeah. Yeah. He's using his starter content. I don't think I have starter content stuff though. We'll fix it somehow. We'll figure it out. Oh wait, what did you just do? Oh, sorry. Huh. Oh, okay. I think I know what we're doing. So the confusion comes where I can actually type in the name right here. I'm just like, well, if we're kind of adding a tag to it, or in this case, the name, um, maybe he's doing something else. Never mind. Let's see what he's doing. It will ask you during the setup if you want to start, but yeah, I know. I think I said no purely because I don't want the extra memory taken up. But you can also go through if you go to your content browser, and if you go to content and you select add, then you can go to add feature or content pack, and I believe you should be able to find the starter pack in this, but maybe they've removed that. Maybe it's kind of, is it by default now? Because I'm pretty sure you could do this in previous versions of Unreal. Or have they moved that to something else? Oh, maybe it's in Fab now. Maybe. I mean, they were trying to push that quite hard, which makes sense. Yeah. Maybe it's in Fab. I'm just going to check. Maybe they moved it to this start. Let's just do that. See. I can't see it. It's not really that important. Yeah. But I can use something else. I don't need the exact same. I can just make it up myself. I do have some creative and imagination in my head, so I can just do it like that. And that sentence made no sense, so live with it. All right, so the idea then is we want to do another, you know what, let's just do this. And in here, we add a new blueprint. I believe we made a class. Oh, sorry, an actor. Let's get to double check. Oh, of course not. Of course we didn't. We used the class we made, of course. Did I just call it collectible? I did, didn't I? Darn. That's going to annoy me. That's going to annoy me. Okay. And there we go. I'm just going to copy paste everything. It's not necessary to do this. It's just me liking the idea of keeping everything like the same as in the tutorial for now. Because otherwise in the future, I'll be confused. That's just how it works. So we can turn this off. We can turn this off. All right, I didn't show you guys what's happening on Unreal because I forgot to transition, but it's working. It is working. So let's turn Unreal off. And now I made the mistake of not saving. That's fine. Being a streamer is hard, keeping track of everything. Also, I'm trying to make everything as automated as possible, but yeah, I just keep forgetting. I probably will have something. How does that work? I'll figure something out. I should be able to do a button that kind of swaps between two scenes. That should be possible. I mean, it is possible. The question is whether or not I can do it. That's a different thing. Let's transition like this. So what we've done is in blueprints, I just made a new folder. And then I'm meant to do this and search for collect item. And let's do it like that. So collectible item. So previously I called it collectible, but now we're going to call it collectible item instead. And this is going to be BP glass statue. That's going to be a temporary thing. Not going to use that in game. It's purely for tutorial stuff. I'm actually going to keep the floor like it. Can I do this? If I do all and search for glass. Nope, it's not in there. That's fine. Let's do add. Let's do a, what's it called? It's a cone, right? Let's do cone. Turn off snapping. There you go. That's fine. That's good enough. There we go. Glass stuff. Okay. So in here, or then, since I do have, do I need to click this part? Trying to figure out where the new variable is that I made. So in glass statue. Yes, here it is, collectible item. Let's just call it glass statue for now. Okay, so that is that class or lecture. So what I'm doing then, this thing, which is called the pickup item. We're going to make you invisible for now. Or should I do this? Is it not possible? Does the does these items or actors don't have an invisibility stuff? Apparently not. All right, so how about this instead? Be gone. Gonna have the glass statue on top. That is fairly big, so let's fix that in a second. Um, why is this so hard to see what's going on? Wait, what? Just trying to make sure it's in the center. Kind of not necessary to be honest, but it's close enough. Don't want to fight this. There you go. So save. I'm also going to go back to this. Make sure this is half the size. First, let's link the scales. Do that. Give or take. That's fine. There you go. Question. Now that I'm not using... Oh, do we have ads, by the way? Oh, we do. I missed that. So I'm going to do some stretches, by the way. I recommend doing the same. So I'll be back in about 2 minutes. Got another 5 seconds. All right. Until done. Come on. There we go. Got some water. We're just moving on to the next step. So now we're going to work on the lock system, all right? Not 100% sure why we're doing all this, but I guess it will be evident eventually. Okay, class. Okay, create tag for lock, and then probably collectible or key or something, right? All right, guess that makes sense. So let's transition over to the code. So same as before, we're gonna add a tag. That is tags add lock. There you go. Sometimes it's just way too simple. Okay. Seam trigger and okay. Okay. So we're going to add some components to this thing. It's in the header. That makes sense. And of course, the generated needs to be at the bottom. So let's do include, and we're going to start with the trigger component. There you go. Next, we need the include. Oh, I can't spell. The include components, yes. But we need the, what's it like this? We need static mesh components. Let's see what we're going with this. I'm assuming we're somewhat assigning static meshes and using the code we had earlier. Okay. Again, not sure why we're doing this. Or we need a scene component, apparently. Let's call it component root. Mm-hmm. Let's try that one more time. Try and figure out what it's doing. Okay. So the key item stuff. Okay. MHL, hey, how you doing, man? Stopping by? Well, thanks for showing up. Uh, oh, Roberto, you said something. I tried streaming for a bit, but it just keeps pulling time away from my game. Fair enough. I wanted to kind of make the game and the stream at the same time, so I'm kind of prepared for the inevitable um, distractions. So yeah, I kind of accepted that. But I totally understand where you're coming from. The idea of being distracted and trying to be entertaining all at once becomes quite distracting. You're playing, and that is TOTK now. God damn it! I should know that, shouldn't I? But for everyone else who doesn't know, I do know. I am Tears of the Kingdom. There you go. It is clear. Of course, it's Tears of the Kingdom. Okay. So how's that going for you? I never played that. I do have Breath of the Wilds, but I never played Tears of the Kingdom. How's that going for you? Oh, you do walkthrough updates on YouTube. Awesome. YouTube is a great place to have what's called evergreen stuff, which is things that just keeps working. So my recommendation, if you ever want to do like content creation, especially if you want to go streaming, first of all, use YouTube as a place to get people to discover you, and just have a lot of, if you want to, just add stuff like YouTube tutorials, because that will help you. Since a YouTube video works for you 24/7, a stream only works when you're streaming. So if that makes sense, it's fun. Awesome. Tears of the Kingdom will be Zelda. Yeah, that's the latest one. You have made a thick stick. Oh, holy shit. You you made a thick stick, a ship prick, stairs rick, and a bridge rick. That is one hell of a sentence. They all broke or got lost, though. Oh, that happens. Yeah. Thanks for just dropping by, MHL, and have fun. Go. Mm-hmm. I was hoping it was be correcting my misspelling. Oh, okay. So he's adding text, but the autocomplete didn't like that. So I'm guessing if I don't add that, it will not show up as the name. So let's just do text. He called the root comp. I'm going to call it the same. And let's just add a space in between. I'm guessing future things will be something like this. We're also going to create a U static. Or is it U? Yeah, it should be U, right? Static mesh component. It's probably going to be called something else, but I'm just going to call it mesh for now. And did we create something else? We did something, right? Oh, that was trigger component, but all right. Let's call this key then. For now, I'm just going a bit ahead of the curve. Of course. I've done this before. So we're going to assign it to this. Oh, something went missing. There we go. Ooh, pressing all the wrong buttons right now. Always fun. Uh, nope. All right. Now I'm getting more information here. So we're just trying to do this through instead of doing it through Blueprint manually, we're just doing this through code, which makes sense. So what? So if I go with the trigger comp, we're just gonna do it. Come on, create. There we go. Yeah. So assigning that to. Why are you complaining? Because that is not right. This needs to be you trigger component. There you go. And I'm guessing, I'm assuming it's going to be set, right? Because I want to assign this to something. Trying to figure out this without using the tutorial. There is a way to set this to a object, or is it automatically set because I have a root? Is that how it works? Right. So I was now close. So I want to do this, but not the root component. I want to do root comp. And it's auto-completing the wrong thing. We do some challenges. We can skip that part. Yep, pretty much the same as before. I'm just going to do this. Going to do key item mesh. We're going to make that a create default sub object. Static mesh, key item mesh, but instead of that, we'll do this for easier read. I'm assuming then like so, and he wants it attached to root component, and I'm doing the same. So I'm just gonna go, oh, yeah, I'm showing the right thing. So it's like worried for a second that I showed you Unreal while I'm working in code. That'll be so annoying. So let's save Unreal, and I'm gonna do this. Where are you? There you go. So I'm gonna turn that off. We'll close Unreal. Then we're gonna relaunch it because we've done quite a lot of stuff. Quite a lot of stuff. That's a sentence. Stupid one, but it is a sentence nonetheless. Let's see what Unreal wants. Do you like my stuff, Unreal? Do you not? Let's transition. So, uh, right now, I don't think I can see the changes because I haven't created a key item yet. So let's see what he wants to do. Oh, no, end of class. Okay, fair enough. Let's go to the next one. Yep, yep, yep. Got it, got it. Select. Yep, it's all working. Okay. Now he's just explaining why we did it this way, and it's apparently quite simple. Uh, Doing it this way by creating these components inside the C++ class rather than inside the blueprint just gives us access to the components in C++. I'm sure there's a way to do this like another way around, which would be like finding component or find component by class thing and everything. But this just makes more sense, right? It's easier, so it makes sense. Hmm. Okay, it's just adding a lot of static stuff, so I'll do that in a second. Okay. Uh, Again, he'll probably tell us everything about it. It just makes no sense in my head right now why we're doing this instead of just using this. But I could probably. All right. I don't know. I don't know what's going on. So let's do what he's doing. I think we'll be fine. So first we need a cube, and that needs to be like so. Yep. Gonna have to make sure I'm showing this. There we go. Can move it up. So I'm gonna scale it down like so. Let's go to side view, which is K. Make sure it's flush with the bottom like that. Is your FPS character going to have a full body? No. Um, that is not the plan, at least. Again, comes down to what I'm capable of doing. And full body animation, I'm capable. I can do some very, very basic stuff. But for this, I'm probably just going to do an arm or I don't know. Probably going to hide it. But maybe, who knows, in the future, I might decide to hire or hire someone. Probably will. I don't like the idea of having people do stuff for free. So if I ever decide to create something more advanced or, yeah, the word just kind of eludes me right now. But short answer is no, because of my skills, but I might in the future add a full body, depending on a few things, but likely not. Maybe have hands in cutscenes, but not in gameplay. That is an option. Absolutely. One thing that kind of is downside with that is inconsistency, if that makes sense. If you can't see arms while doing gameplay stuff, then maybe seeing them in cutscenes might feel inconsistent, or maybe not. I might also be reading too much into it, which is, of course, a might really be. I might read too much into it or make things too complicated. Yeah. Again, it's all comes down to I don't really know right now. I'm thinking of a lot of stuff, but these are good questions. Some of them I haven't really thought of yet. So good thing, just remind me. Hey, have you thought of these things? But yeah, we'll see. I mean, so the thing I have in my head is no arms, just a simple FPS camera view. You walking through, you pick things up. You don't really see things being picked up other than, well, you do see things being picked up, but you don't see hands and arms. I think that is what Amnesia is doing, apart from when you use your lantern. I do believe Amnesia has a hand, right? You can see an arm holding up something. I've tried that in the past for another game project and probably would do the same. like borrow the Unreal arm for now from the mannequin stuff. That yeah, and that might be the next thing, to be honest. Um, so one of the things I want to do moving forward, once I'm done with this tutorial, first of all, I'll check whether or not this is actually fun for people to watch. If it's not, I'll move to something else. If it is interesting for people, and I see that in the data, and I see things like in chat and everything, if it is interesting, I'll move on to the Amnesia tutorial. Again, I just need to double check whether or not it is useful first. And after that, I'll move on to level design, probably, like the initial level design. And that will probably be done on stream. Just not sure about the layout right now and how to proceed, but I'll figure that out. The hand in Amnesia was the worst hands I've ever seen. I mean, that might be personal. I think it fit considering the time and the fidelity. I think it kind of fit, but it wouldn't hold up today. No, many games. Again, comes down to art style. But I'm sure. What's their name? What's their name? What's the studio name? It's at the tip of my tongue. Oh, either way, that studio has evolved quite a bit, so I'm sure they can do a lot better arms today. What else did he do? He added a component for the key, and I don't do it this way. I do it this way, right? Static. Let's do a cube. Can I do a cube? Can. Oh, let's do a cone, by the way. There we go. Move that up. Side, which is H. Yes, it is. Alt H. Make sure it's like that. And the best way to change its size would probably just do this. No. Wait, what? Why did everything else disappear? Not sure why. Move this down to roughly. Should this be the same size though? Let's do that. Give or take. I think it had fingers. Yeah, there you go. Well, that makes it a hand, doesn't it? An arm. There we go. Let's save, compile, see what he wants to do. Oh, he's checking the tag too. Let's confirm we also do have that tag. Let's do tag. Yeah, there you go. Lock. Hmm. Okay. So he's doing it that way. Oh, okay. That's why you call it test door lock. So if I do this, apparently, that's why you use the same asset. Makes sense. Uh, hmm. Let's keep going. So my confusion is this: he has the glass statue that comes with the starter content. I'm just going to move this by the way. Or not. And he has explained it in the way that we will pick this up and place it in the lock, in this case, the test door lock uh, trigger. But since I don't have the same static mesh, it's going to look different. And I've called the BP class statue. That is because it is this part. Hmm. I'm a bit confused, but we'll figure it out. I'm just going to launch this one. Oh, if you didn't know, there's a quick launch hotkey in Unreal. So if you have something selected in the scene, you can just do Control E for editor, and it will launch in this case, the blueprint window. If it's a static mesh, it will launch the editor or static mesh editor. So it's kind of cool. All of these shortcuts are amazing. Let's see. Let's move this down a bit. This might not work considering he's doing it differently, but we'll figure something out. There you go. You didn't know that? Oh, yeah. I was thinking, to be honest, to make a short video on my YouTube channel just about various things. Like, for example, if you have an object selected, Control E launch the window, but if you do Control B, you'll be sent to the content folder where this is stored. Just a few cool things. Trying to create a key to open the door. Right now, I'm, to be honest, quite confused as what we're trying to do. I think what we're trying to do is this object on my left, which is underneath pickup, will be the key. And I'm pretty sure we already set it as key if I go to tags. Well, it's collectible at this point, but I do think that will be the key. And this object, the small cone in the test door lock, will be hidden. And when we place, or when the key item, the picked up item, enters the trigger box, that will be hidden, but this thing will be then be shown and will trigger the door. I think that is what we're trying to do. But we'll see. I haven't gone that far in the tutorial yet. And now we're going to talk about colliders. We'll see if that's fun. It's a lot of one-on-one stuff. Collision presets, I know about that. He wants to create a custom one. Okay, fair enough. Uh, Fair enough. Query only stuff. Okay. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, dynamic pawns. Moving through this quickly. Seen this before. I've done it before. Yeah. A lot of talk. I just want to make sure I don't miss anything important. Yeah. I'm probably going to have to go through these off stream just to make sure I didn't miss anything. So I think we're fine. Hmm. Okay. So in this section, we want to customize the collider, which makes sense considering his explanation of this being just a visual, because it's not going to be shown initially, and then it's just going to you're only going to see it once we've added a item or the key, as far as I can understand. So he's now going to collision. Yeah. Block all done. Then we're going to make a custom. Fair enough. So let's go to. It's kind of slow. Can you see, by the way? Have I not? Yeah, no, it's fine. Always worried that I miss that part of showing. And there we go. Collision presets, block all dynamics. That's not what we want. We want it to be custom. Begs the question, though. We've done everything else in C++ for this particular class and blueprint. So why aren't we doing this in C++? Perhaps it's just because he wants to show us how to do it. Just like kind of slowly get us into it. That makes sense. Mm, okay, fair enough. So the idea is that we're going to tell it to ignore all pawns, and player is a pawn. Therefore, if we do this and jump through, we should just go through it. What channel you're watching? So, it's not a YouTube channel or something like this. It's Udemy, so it is a paid class. And again, I mentioned this earlier. I'm not sponsored. This is important. I need to do this. It's not. I'm not sponsored. I just found this, really liked what they were doing, bought it myself. So on that, in that context, I can recommend it. But again, I'm not sponsored. I feel like I need to repeat that multiple times. I've been told it's very important. So, so yeah, it's unfortunately not a YouTube channel. I would love if this is a would have been a YouTube channel. I would highly recommend just going through it because it's amazing. Yeah, and I have not pinned it. I pinned last stream. I pinned it as a comment, but yep, awesome. And setting visibility, fair enough. And will this be done through code then? I probably. Gonna need some more water. How are we, by the way, with ads? Okay, we got another 50 minutes until ads. Your lawyer just wanted me to ask you. Wow, why would your lawyer be interested? Is he also a game dev? Or is it just trying to find some dirt on me? I don't know. Okay, visibility in C++. Awesome. Yeah, fair enough. Okay, okay. So collectible item is the name, and we're then going to use that tag as the key item name to trigger. So, okay, that makes sense. So that makes it quite customizable, doesn't it? If I'm telling you, hey, in order to trigger this, um, well, trigger, we need a specific collectible, and that is in this case, looking at the tutorial, we call the glass statue. If I collect the glass statue and place it in this trigger, then we'll move the door. And for that, we need a string that kind of grabs that collectible name. Okay. All right. Let's see. All right. So let's move over to Writer. I need to make sure I do a transition. There we go. Yeah, I really need to set up a proper, what's it called? Way to automate that process. It's kind of annoying having to click on transition each time. Right. So we're going to start with a U property, but this is going to be edit anywhere rather than visible. And it's going to be an F string. Key item mesh name. Nope, but close. Key item name. That's what we're going for. Save. Uh, okay. So private U property. This is going to be a bool. It's going to be is key placed. That's fair. And we're also going to make it false. And you also mentioned that we're going to create getters and setters in the future, uh, making uh, this private variable available to other components. But that is in the future. We'll see. All right. Yeah, that makes sense. And it's in the lock header. Yeah. So exactly like we did last time. Perfect. So the first one will be, was it the getter? No, that was the setter. He started with the setter. I think he started with the getter last time. Doesn't really matter. Just to void set is key placed. And that's the bool. Yes. And also we're going to call this new, just not so we don't confuse. Why did he jump like that? I don't know. So we don't confuse, because we're going to use this as a, so this is the item or the value we'll get using the set key setter, but in the function itself, we're going to assign it to leave is key placed as a local local thing. I don't know. Poor explanation, but that is what we're going to do. Do that. Back to header. Another definition. Why are you complaining? Yeah. Return, not this though. Did I miss something? I think I did. And I think what we're doing is key placed. I think that is what we're doing. Yeah. Exactly, because this is a getter that gets the value of its key placed, and therefore it needs to return the value. And I'm going to skip ahead a bit, because I do believe what we're doing is this. And then I'm also assuming we're going to do something like this, similar to that. Let's see what happens. Mm-hmm. Okay, let's see. All right. Why are we doing it that way? Not sure. Okay. So next will be then, so we're going to grab the trigger comp, and we're going to set, we're also going to grab a function called trigger. I can't remember. And he wants me to do this. Sorry, I need to check something. We made that trigger somewhere. There you go. This trigger, trying to remember what we did. So this, let's see, where are you? So we have this function, right? Where are you? It is this one, right? Yeah. If, and checks a bool, and if it is true, all right, so we're doing the move part. Trying to wrap my head around why he got to this conclusion. This is kind of the downside with working with tutorials. You kind of need to set your mind in the same headspace as the one who made it. But I do see the logic. I couldn't foresee the actions that he wanted to do or the code, but I didn't understand what he is doing. And since this is the moving, the function that kind of tells our door, or in this case, the moved actor, can't remember, to move, to be located in a new position, then that makes sense that we are asking for it right here. Because it's telling, hey, is the key placed? Yes, it is. Then this value, right? But why aren't we using this value? That's the part I'm not really sure why. I should be able to just do this, right? That's the same thing. Okay, he's doing something again. That's really not making sense. Well, yes, it is in a way, but details, right? So key item mesh. Uh, what are you trying to do, Ryder? Set visibility, yes, but you're doing some kind of if statement, right? That's a way to do an if statement, isn't it? Like a apparently simpler way, but I don't know. I'm gonna do that. All right, so let's try this one more time. If oh, okay, I see now. I see now. My head is in the wrong. I wasn't thinking correctly. So what we're doing is set key is place. So we're kind of we are setting this function now, or whatever. If it's true, if it's true, then trigger move. If it's true, set visibility to visible. I think that is what we're doing. Yeah. I missed something. Let's see. All right. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So in lock CPP, in on begin play. Yeah. There you go. We're going to setter. I'm going to do this. Let's start with exactly the same way he's doing. He's testing it out. In this case, we're going to do set is key placed on the lock as false, which means if I do this, is this going to work? Or do I need to relaunch Unreal? Uh, it's working. It's working. Successfully linked. Okay. Transition over to Unreal. We're going to do start. Successfully found mover component. Fair enough. Move actor is null pointer. Which one is complaining? So if I do this, that is working, and that is false. Let's see what's wrong. Right. I missed something. Darn. Something is missing. What is that? Oh, hamster, welcome. Hey, hey, how you doing? Sorry, I'm just kind of occupied right now. My head is in a specific place. So how you doing? I saw you were online or were streaming early, weren't you? How did that go? Right now, I'm trying to figure out what I'm doing wrong. I'm missing something. Come on. Let's see. Let's go to 2. This. That is correct. Didn't plan on streaming a second time today, but I wanted to share my projects with another game. Oh, okay, cool. So how's it going? I think the last time we spoke about a game you were working on the boss, right? The Cyclops. But you did an update. You updated me last time. Uh, so how did that go? Did you figure that out? Why is it that I'm not seeing what I'm trying to see? That makes sense. Key item tooltip. Where's the trigger? Um, Still working on it, but in interim. Okay, fair enough. Pivoted to making trailer. Okay. Oh, trailer. And you spent 4 days on it. All right. Roberto, what I'm trying to do, I'm trying to figure, I'm following the tutorial. All right. So what's meant to happen when the set is key placed function is false, which it is right now, this item the cone on top of this item should be gone. It shouldn't be visible, and the door shouldn't move. And if I swap the statement from false to true, then this cone should be showing and the door should move. First of all, I think one thing I need to do is find the trigger component, and this needs to be, where is it? I really need to fix this because it's really hard to find where everything is. Let's do that. I need to do this at least. If I do that, nothing should happen to the door. Perfect. But this is still visible. And he's doing something else, which I kind of need to go back and check what he's doing. So created a setter. That should be fine. All of that should be fine. Code-wise, we should be fine. So I am missing something. It could be, what it could be is that I need to relaunch Unreal. That is honestly, the rider stuff didn't work. Can I DM you the link to the trailer if you like? It's on YouTube now. It's the first trailer and only the second trailer I've ever done. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Please do. Please do. Uh, so what we're going to do is this. I'm going to transition back over to rider, like so. So while it turned dark, I'm going to go to Unreal. Let's do a save. Back to rider. Let's close Unreal for now. Sorry, something happened there. It's disconnected to chat. Huh. Well, now I'm back. Okay, that's weird. Let's see if we can't get this to work. Oh, ads. Timing. Let's do this. So, yeah, I'm going to get some stretches done. So I'll see you all in a little bit. All right, so I am back. Got another 20 seconds for ads. Right, so hamster, you sent me. Okay, all right, so you linked it in your about. All right, I'll have a look after stream. Awesome. All right, welcome back, Twitch. So let's see if we can't fix this. So I want this to disappear now. Oh, there you go. Okay, so it was just a pure um, relaunch of Unreal. And also, it kind of annoys me that I'm starting looking at this part. So let's do this instead. So when I launch, there you go. Perfect. Successfully found the mover component. So it's going to do that twice because we have this one and that thing. What else? Trigger component is constructing. That is happening each time I move or do anything pretty much. So found. All right, perfect. So, oh, you can't see. There you go. Now we do. Let's try that again. So the idea is if I start to play, this cone will disappear and nothing else should happen. And there you go. It's gone. Poof. Magic. And now if I go back to Writer, you're not going to see this because it's just going to take a second. And instead of having set is key placed as false, we're just going to make it true. And then do a... This time, live coding should work. And the reason why it's working now and not before is... What's going on? Is it done? Did it work? Sorry, it's probably might not be working. Let's try that again. Okay, so let's do this. All right, that did not work. Why not? Sometimes the link right stuff or the live coding isn't really perfect. Okay, that more happened. There we go. Now it should work. There you go. Perfect. So I'm guessing the next step is to be able to pick up this thing and place it. But awesome. Awesome stuff. This will always not work because this thing is always in the way. Let's make that false, though I'm guessing I should be using the getter soon. So let's go back to code and let's go to the course. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we fixed that. So we're kind of ahead of him right now. And there you go. He opens the door. It works fine. But he did something else. I'm going to have to go back. Right. Oh, he did it that way. Okay, so let's quickly transition back to Unreal. And in the lock component or blueprint, we should find... No? This. There you go. So key item. He does glass, if I can spell, glass statue, which is this item over there. This one, right? Let's double check. Let's go to collect, I think. Item name on the collectible item. Yeah, the item name is glass statue. So the idea is, if I got this right, that we're going to pick up this item and we're going to place it in this blueprint or the trigger box. And if it is the same as the key item name, so if collectible item name is the same as key item name, then the trigger should activate and we should see the door move. So that makes sense. That makes sense. And now we're going to use something called the enhanced input system. Okay. Oh, that is the key, the controller system in Unreal, which they introduced in Unreal 5, I believe. Before that was something else. It was called mapping or something along those lines. It's been a while, and I wasn't really into. I didn't really work with that system. Haven't really done much with this system either. So I mean, yeah. Mm, okay, let's see if we can find the same. So we're looking for the character input system, and apparently we should have a folder called inputs. Yeah, we do, and everything else. Yeah. All right. Mm, all right. This is just a reminder. I've done this before, but it's been a while. All right. Yeah, we don't need to see all this. Let's go to the part where we actually do stuff. All right. Okay. So first of all, let's go back here. Let's go to this. Let's go actions. And I do believe it's under input, input action. I think you mentioned something about interact, something along those lines. Yep. I forgot. You've used other engines before. Kinda, yeah. I've used both or three engines in total, I guess, which is Unity, Unreal, and Godot. I don't think no, actually four if you count the fact that I've done the project in what's the name of that engine? It was a 2D engine made by King. Was it default? I can't remember exactly. I've used that for used it with one project, never again. I've worked in Unity, Unreal, and Godot. Godot is I'm new to that one. Made a single project which we shelved. But I've gotten more used to it, and I'm probably use it more in future. But Unreal is my big. That's the one I'm most experienced with. Uh, Unity kind of not want to work in Unity anymore after a few what happened, and also last time worked in it that was 2019, and that was professionally, and we had to revert that version of Unity to a older one because that version of Unity just didn't work at all. It was just nope. I heard Unreal is one of the hardest engines to understand. That's a tough one. The thing I'd say about Unreal, I'm not going to say it's necessarily like complicated. There's some complicated stuff too, absolutely. But there's a lot, if that makes sense. So it's not difficult to understand, just that you need to learn a lot of stuff. So everything you need to learn is simple in everything is relative, but there's just a lot of it because you have cinematic stuff, you have 2D stuff, you have VR stuff, you have 3D stuff, you have lighting. It's just a lot. So that's the downside with Unreal. It's just a big block of information or things you need to learn, but not complicated stuff. At least you don't need to go into the complicated stuff if you want to make games. Unity is less complicated because I think the principle, at least used to be, that Unity was more like you added to it. So you had simple stuff in the beginning, and then you added to your product depending on what would work for it, right? Unity being the easiest is probably correct. At least it used to be. I'm not sure. Again, I haven't used it for a while, so I'm not sure if it's still correct. But between Unity and Unreal, certainly, if you're a beginner, And for game development, you should, in my opinion, start with a Unity. But there's ups and downs with everything. The thing with Unreal is that there's a lot of tutorials. Again, Unity has the same. There's a lot of tutorials for Unity also. But yeah, I think the big difference is will probably be the amount you need to learn. Again, does that mean it's more complicated and harder to learn? Maybe. I think, yeah, let's go with yes. Yeah, that's probably a correct statement. Unreal is harder to learn than Unity if you condense everything down to the amount you need to learn. You did something. What did you do? Yeah, I thought he said something else, but he did say that. Let's do this, interact. Mm. Ah, simple. That's that all. Yeah. Yep. That's simple enough. Sure why I expected more, but yeah. Mapping in just that part to create an action and mapping is pretty simple. There's ways to make it more complicated. Like what is the variable or the value that will be sent by the key press? In this case, I believe it is a by default a bool, but I'm not 100% sure. Okay, so we're going to go back to writer. In this case, we're going to find, where is it? Player controller, right? That's the one he's talking about. But we're going to go to the header. There we go. Oh, have I? Yeah, of course I have. I've done a lot of stuff in Unreal right now, and none of that was shown, of course. Right. Just do a quick repeat them. So all I've done is we have created this item or input action file. And in that file, we have done nothing other than it's just calling it interaction. So it's IA interaction. And in input folder, you go to IMC default, which is input mapping control, the context. And in this, you can then add the context. So I'm just adding the new mapping to interact or input action interact. And then by clicking on the plus sign symbol a few times, you can do a left click and then a keyed or hotkeyed it to E button. So we're now going to work on telling Unreal that once I click with the left mouse button or with E key, then something should happen. And we're doing that in Writer. So yeah, I definitely need to figure out a better system for working in two softwares at the same time. Sure, how, what? I mean, just I do have a Stream Deck. I haven't mentioned that in a while. So if I have a button that once pressed, it will flip over to Writer, and if it does that, it will hide Unreal. Once I click it again, it will flip back to Unreal and hide Writer. That could be something. Or alternatively, which I don't really like the way of doing it because you could. What I'm doing right now is I'm working on specific windows, or yeah. So I'm using like telling Unreal or OBS, hey, only show this window. Which the upside is, of course, that if I do something like accidentally show a Explorer window, then you're not going to see it because it's not that specific window that I asked to show. The downside is, of course, then if I do swap and software, you're not going to see it. because unless I remember to transition, and as you can tell, I tend to forget to transition. So I need to be desired whether or not I'm okay with showing you, accidentally showing you stuff, or if I do just want to get better at remembering to transition. I don't know. We'll figure something out. I've done that in the past, like working on specific windows. But then at that point, I tend to only work in specific software. Like when I work in Blender, I only work in Blender. I don't jump back and forth between Unreal and Blender. I need to fix that. Either way, I'm rambling again. Let's see. Can I have this? That. Uh, wait, what? No, he's not working the same. Not in the same, am I? No, I am. So why isn't it the same? Doesn't it look the same? God damn. Public. No, it is the same. It's just I have more stuff apparently. Input this one, but no, this one is not the one I'm looking for. Right? So why do I have everything else? I have all of these things. I mean, I'm probably gonna have to have it or use it. No, it's mobile. I'm not gonna use that. Yeah. Oh, we're doing this. Okay. Looking at the blueprint for play controller. Have I tried the Unreal AI? No. Honestly, I didn't know there was one. Is that new for 5.7? I missed that completely. I mean, makes sense considering what we're the time period within. Uh, so it's new. All right. No, might. Maybe I should try it. I don't know. I try to avoid AI when I can. It is hard though because there are parts and certain moments where using AI does make sense and it does help. But I do want to do as much as possible by myself if I can. But it's tempting. Okay, let's go to this part because now we're looking at set set up input components, right? This part. What are we doing? We're add input context, okay? So if play subsystem equals local player get subsystem, okay? Then for each of these mapping contexts, all right. Hmm. And now we're going to characters. I'm guessing he's right now just explaining the setup itself. We're not really doing any changes. And yeah, I've done this before in a previous tutorial and project. So all we're doing is kind of look for, yeah, these things. There you go. Let's move ahead a bit. You have to do a better job in organizing your stuff in Unreal. I mean, that is the curse of projects in general, right? You always have to clean and sort stuff. I mean, mine looks kind of fairly organized at this stage, but I've worked on it for like 2 weeks or a week. So It would be weird if it wasn't sorted, or at least gave off the illusion of being clean and sorted. Okay. Where can I find this character setup? Okay, so let's kind of go into that part he's looking at right now. We are looking at, see if I can find it. Set up player input components. Okay, probably past it. This section, right? Okay, so he's explaining the triggered section. Well, actually, moving, which means if it's triggered, hold down or held down. In this case, it will move. Okay. Oh, that kind. Oh, now I see why it's confusing me, because in his example, the way his setup is, well, the way he looks in his setup is that it looks like this. So that's kind of confusing. All right. So let's not do that. Let's keep it as is. Okay, fair enough. So now we're creating it, and he just took this part. Actually, let's skip the. You know what? Well, let's add the comment. Let's do this properly. Let's do this, which is, it says mouse look input action. Well, instead of that, let's do interact action. There you go. Edit anywhere. They remove the blueprint part. Okay. Wait, what? Have I made a mistake somewhere? Yeah, we're going to fix this error in a second. I'm just trying to make sure I'm in the same headspace he is. Edit anywhere, but it's also added something called blueprint read only. What is that doing again? Need to double check that. Blueprint read only. Read only. This property can be read by blueprints, but not modified. Okay, this specifier is compatible. Okay, blueprint read only. So grammarly, or the way it's kind of spelt, can I select that? Or the way the sentence kind of reads to me is that you can only use blueprint to read the file, like nothing else. But it's meant to say, hey, blueprint, everything else can read it, or C++ can read it, but blueprint can only read, not edit. If that makes sense. It does in my head. That's pretty much the important part, isn't it? Interaction, at least in the sense that what will make the game work. There we go. Mm-hmm. Okay. That simple? Not sure why he's making it so simple. Well, I guess it will be explained. Make a definition. There we go. Okay. Next, we'll make a connection. Is that what he said? Yeah. Oh, okay, okay, okay. Now I get it. Now I'm getting it. All right. So we need this part. Uh, that, do this. And it's going to be the interact action. There we go. And this section, this is the function that's being called. Right. So we've made a variable, a function in void or in header. We're also, where is it? Didn't I make one more stuff? Oh, there you go. Interact. Yeah, this section. So that's a pointer, right, to interact action. And we told it, hey, when things happening, when things happen, do this. Kind of. Oh God, that's such a poor explanation. Okay, he's just doing a log. That makes sense. So let's do a UE log. See if I can remember how this is done. It's log temp, right? Yeah. Let's do a warning, which means it's just going to be yellow. Next, I need a text, right? Do that. Yeah, I'm just double checking. And he's doing interact. Yeah, makes sense. And we're going to have to relaunch Unreal because we've done a few things. So let's do that. There we go. And then launch again. Come on, Unreal. Right, so back in Unreal. Remember doing the transition this time. Move this part, move that part, sandbox. So, if I'm understanding this correctly now, if I start the game and press E, nothing. Okay, so I'm not correct. What's going on? Yeah, exactly. Ah, what we haven't done is in the player blueprints. I'm guessing. Let's see if that is correct. All right. So input interaction. All right, because we created that, but we haven't told it what to use. So let's do that. Is that all? Yep, it is. So let's do this, that. Press the E key. We got getting interact. Press the left click. There we go. Perfect. All right, let's just keep going. All right, so now we're going to look at line tracing stuff. Let's see. Arjung's Vog 8437. That's a sentence. Hi. Yeah. Hi. How you doing? What I'm building. So right now I am doing the initial stages of creating a horror game. Although it might not look like that, I'm just following a tutorial. Learning C++ is what I'm currently doing. And eventually that will turn into a game. But for now, it's just the basics. But yeah, I'm not a coder. eh, Like that is not my thing. So this is purely to learn the basics. Eventually, I'll get into more environment art design and what I'm actually good at, or what my strength at is at, and that is creating models, environment art. So eventually, we'll get to that. But for now, I just have to do the boring part, or the parts I'm not good at. So yeah, that's the short description. Now, how you doing, by the way? Right now, I am following a tutorial. That's why I'm looking to my side. Right now, I'm going to learn how to send a line trace, which means I can detect stuff. Oh, you want to get into Unity? Oh, that's cool. I'm working in Unreal just to make that clear. But Unity, definitely, if you are interested, you should definitely do it. Your system isn't working right now? Well, welcome to game dev. That's probably going to be a big part of the your time, just figuring out why isn't it working. But just keep at it. You'll eventually get there. Let's see. Okay, so we're going to do a sweep. That's nice. Yeah, he's just explaining what we're doing and what traces are. We'll see once we get into the meaty, greedy stuff. All right, so first of all, let's go to Unreal because now we're entering, where are we? Project settings. Fair enough. Edit project settings. I haven't been doing this in a while. One of the previous Windows updates had a flaw that kills HDD. Now I need to buy a new one. Oh, that sucks. I don't know what Windows is doing lately. I mean, Windows has always been weird, right? But lately, I feel like they really are messing up way too much stuff. I have a guess at to what it is, considering what they've gone out announced that AI will be like what 90% of their code or something like that. I don't know, but yeah, lately it's been weird stuff going on. I heard someone said something along the lines of their Windows couldn't even launch. Their computer was dead because of whatever. Yeah, AI to make the code. Yeah, we're in a weird time period, man. Really. Hopefully, we'll get out of it soon, and whatever comes on the other side will be more reasonable than what we have right now. But for now, we just has to bear with. We're just gonna have to bear with it. And hopefully, I mean, hopefully something really good will happen on the other side. Maybe Linux will take a big portion. That could be good, I guess. We need competition. I think what was a number I saw? Like Windows is along the lines of 90%, something like that, of personal computers, like home computers. I think that's really true. Not sure. It sounds a lot. But Linux was less than 3 or 4%. Again, these numbers are just vague and I might not remember them correctly, but yeah. Uh, so yeah, hopefully, who knows? We need it. We'll see. Uh, well, okay. So I'm assuming I'm going to go to this one, viewport, I guess, and collision. Uh, this is what I want. I don't know. Linux says about 5%. Yeah, that's that's not a lot, is it? That's terrible. But again, who knows? I mean, that 5% was even less before, right? I think there was a upsurge of users like at the end of last year when Windows really started to do terrible and poor decisions. And honestly, I think the video where, although this didn't have the biggest impact, but there's this period of time last year where PewDiePie, which is one of the biggest YouTubers, he was doing some Linux stuff. And I think that kind of got people into it. At least looked like some were influenced by what he did. Yes, yes, yes. Oh, right. I need to go to this one, right? Oh, right. Interact is set to ignore, but we're going to do it. No, not the default custom. I'm going to make this block. Uh, why are we doing this purely on? Wait, what? Okay. I guess that's okay. Fair enough, I guess. So we're making sure the collider or the collision settings is set to custom. Everything is set to overlap. All right, I need to check something. Back. Oh, wrong one. Wrong one. That should be ignore though. That should be ignored. That's fine. The trigger component. There we go. I was wondering why mine wasn't the same as his. There we go. I didn't hear that he shifted to Linux. Fun how I reinstalled Windows right when he when the bad version was live. And you go, I'm sorry to hear that, dude. That's unfortunate. Yeah, he did something. He got into this weird, not weird. That's not the correct word, but he got into this mindset of just wanting to do things himself. He made some really, I mean, he has the cash, but he invested heavily into this beast. Not necessarily a computer. Can't remember what he did. I can't remember the exact thing he did, but it was a beast. He had like 5 or 6 GPUs or something like that. It was kind of it was interesting, although it's not my cup of tea, but still. It's always fun to see when people like him, because he does have some few nice like values going on, and it's kind of fun to see when he's in his mood to do art, like not artistic necessarily, but creative stuff. Uh, yeah, so I was kind of right on the right track for this one. This needs to be collision preset, custom, it needs to be this. And now we're on the same line. Okay, perfect. Oh, okay, fair enough. Oh, what happened? I think we're fine. I might have clicked on something. No, we're fine. Just double checking. So we're on the right track. Yep, we're doing amazingly. Da, 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 da. So I'm just going to do this, compile, make sure all of these are correct. I need to remember how to do this part, ray trace channel, yes. Play component, blueprint. Missed that part. When did that happen? Probably when I turned off or closed Unreal. So let's do this. Correct. I don't need that anymore. Or do I? Oh, something probably happened, right? It probably went away. Default. No, it's still there. Perfect. Do I still have the action? I do. So let's save everything. Turn that off. And yep. Okay, I've done this multiple times now. I tend to stop and ask, why are we doing this? And he's probably going to explain that in like a minute. It's like, why do we need to keep track of time now? I feel like the jump, maybe he's just doing a hook. Maybe I'm just falling for his hook. I don't know. Yeah. U world, U level. Mm-hmm. Okay, fair enough. Well, you're just looking at the list of API references right now. But he wants us to find or print time, the time as it's that's been. God, I can't talk the same at the same time. He wants us to look at how long we've been playing for. So that's the goal right now. But we're also looking at the API list. Yep, 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 yep. Okay. Okay. So we're looking at the what did you call them? Delegates, I think that is the term used, or the function that are by default involved inside Unreal that the input they take, some are just by default set, so I don't have to adjust them if I don't want to or if I don't need to. So he's just explaining that part right now. So we can just do that. Are we just doing something cool? Is that what he's just told me? So irrelevant but cool? Is that what he's trying to tell me? Mm-hmm. Then get world, time seconds. Okay, let's try it. Let's try it. If anything, I'm learning something. If that is irrelevant, well, at least it's something. I'm going to do a transition over to this part. Let's close a few of these things. I don't think I need all of these. Trigger, don't need that. Don't need that. Mover, haven't used that in a while. Don't need this. We're going to go into CPP of lock. Am I on voice channel with someone? No. I should be clear on this. I am while I'm actually following a tutorial. Like I mentioned earlier, I am not a coder. I don't know much code, but I'm learning C++. I have a tutorial on the side. Since it's a paid tutorial, I don't want to show it on screen in case, copyright and all of that. So yeah, hopefully that answers your questions. So no, I'm not on voice channel, which kind of makes sense if you didn't know the context, right? Is he talking to someone? No, I'm not. Yeah. So right now, yeah, exactly. I'm just learning stuff right now. And right now, this very moment, we're going to learn how to, apparently, is it gone? No, tick. Yeah. I'm sorry. Have I made a mistake? Did he just remove that part or? Oh, no. Yeah, I have made a mistake. This thing needs to be over here. There you go. Which is probably something that at some point will be commented out. So let's leave it though for now. Let's leave it for now. And he wanted us to do a UE log. Temp warning, key item list. No. Let's move this section and believe, yeah, all we're doing is this time seconds, which should be a percentage %f, and I am going to call get world, spell, get time seconds. I'm pretty sure that's not what we're doing. We're doing time seconds. Usually like multiple ways to do like one single thing. It's kind of confusing at times, but let's see, let's do that. And oh, we have a break on Twitch side. So I'm gonna pause for a while. I usually do that since I'm also streaming to Twitch. I do take a pause during ad breaks, purely so that if someone's interested, they're not going to miss anything because they're not paying for like Twitch Turbo, which allows you to skip ads. It's a good opportunity to kind of sell down and have a break. Stretch your legs. The good part is, though, that allows me to not end the stream on a break. So we got another like 15, 20 minutes left of the stream today. Then I need to close or end because I have actual work, paying work after this. All right, that should be it. Welcome back, Twitch. So I might have done a few things while the break was going on. Like I missed the first like 20 seconds, something like that. So all we've done is just added a UE log code line, a line of code. So once we start the game or start playing in a real later on, it'll probably just print the seconds we've played. Is it a story or is it just jump scares? No, it's definitely a story. Not super heavy narrative story. I personally, although I can see jump scares it has its place in horror, I don't like it personally. Jump scares to me, it's not necessarily scary. It's more of a surprise event. It's like I'm every time someone jump scares, it's not because they were actually scared. It was more like they were surprised and they took a instinctive action to jump away for whatever scared them. So in my mind, I'd like to avoid using jump scares if possible. I might add one or two just for fun, but eventually I just want to keep it to a narrative. And the narrative I'm going with, likely going with, I might do some changes over the weekend now, is so the pitch is, let's actually see if I can remember the pitch. The pitch I've written down is this. It is to step inside into the disturbed mind of an old man and a toy maker who has realized that his lifelong artistic obsession has left him alone. You, the player, will discover what loneliness compelled him to create, and wander through artistic and uncanny world and witness its madness. That is the pitch. It's like 2 sentences long. And my goal with that is to have the player walk through this world where you slowly discover what this compelled actions are, what he did, what this madman did. But earlier this stream, I mentioned that I might want to pivot a bit. Still the loneliness, the madness, but instead of a toy maker, or I might keep that, but it might not make sense in the theme I want to go with. So the original theme was Victorian era. I think that will be the 1800s, late 1800s or something like that, mid 1800s. Instead, I might go with a Scandinavian theme, which is where I'm from. I'm from Sweden, so Scandinavia. And one thing I don't like about winter, for example, is the darkness. So if you're outside, especially at my parents' place where it's on the countryside, you don't have like a lot of electricity, at least street lights. You do have electricity, of course, but we don't have street lights. So when you're outside in the dark, like walking the dogs and things like that, it is pitch black. And you have the crunch of snow during winter, which is where I want the setting to be. So you have the crunch, you have like an old era, so you don't have a torch or a flashlight. Instead, you would have a lantern, so you would have very minimal visibility, or the range of visibility at least, you will be minimal or limited. So that is kind of the theme I want to go with: slow, steady, darkness, cold, loneliness, vulnerable, and so on. So it's a lot of those. The design pillars I picked, which should guide me through everything, is, let's see, ambiguity before certainty, meaning the player should never be told what's happening, and they should kind of have to figure it out themselves. Subtlety over spectacle, so non super like visual stuff like particle effects like fire or something like this. It should be very subtle. And grounded in uncanny, so realistic, and simplicity. Yeah. So you want to make it like Souls games where your lore is not explained outright. Yeah, I guess that, yeah, I never made that connection before, but that kind of makes sense. Yeah. Yeah, in a way. Mohammed, how you doing? How's life? Life is good. Still, I'm tired. I'm getting hungry though, because I haven't eaten today, but I will eat soon. So welcome, Mohammed. So yeah, but the idea of actually connecting that with Souls games, yeah, I can see that happening. Well, I can see there being similarities between those. I'd say it's more closer to Amnesia in the sense that I'm not going to have voice actors or voices in the game. I don't have the budget for that. But like you will be finding notes, perhaps, or you will have to make some kind of connection between items you find, which doesn't necessarily have an explanation attached. It's more like, hey, I found this thing, which is weird. Why is it in this place? It shouldn't be here. Makes no sense. And then kind of make that connection to what's happening around you. We'll see. I'm like, this project is 2 or 3 weeks into production, or maybe even production, maybe even pre-production, right? So there's still details that I'm working on. So absolutely. Oh, okay, that was weird. Saw a weird text message on my phone. But yeah, hopefully that gives a better insight into what I'm trying to make. Okay, so that feels like it was a sidetrack, that particular lesson, because if I go to, where am I? There you go. So if I do this, I'm going to just save. I'm going to do a live code refresh. I think that's the best term. Mohammed, have you not eaten since last time we spoke? Is that what you're trying to say? Dude, hopefully you it's like a decision you made yourself. It's not like you can't get food. Please, if you can get and you need food, please eat. But if it's a voluntary stuff, yeah. Do you have a blog or something that I could read up on so that I can catch up on what you're doing? No, but that is actually maybe a good idea. I do save all my YouTube stuff, like streams. Well, YouTube, I save all my streams on YouTube, but that is not what you're looking for, I guess. Vlog, like blog. God, I can't talk. Yeah. Let me think about that one. That might not be a bad idea to have a place where I can kind of update people on what I'm doing, not only have it in video form. So appreciate that. That's a good thing to think of. So let's do this. Yeah, time and seconds work. Not surprised. Oh, you can't see it, but well, you could. There's something happening in live coding too. If I do this, if we go to Unreal, Alt play, and you can see in the output that we're just throwing out the seconds that's passed. Yep, that makes sense. Oh, actually, I want to try something. Does this work now? It does. There you go. And if I step off, it does that. Perfect. So back to Rider. I'm assuming this is no longer necessary, so we're just going to do that. But the thing he showed earlier, well, we'll probably get to that in a second. Right. Okay, so we're now going to look at how to send a ray trace. And it makes sense because he just pointed that out, that we're going to do it from based on the camera position, I guess. And in the player, is it controller or character? It's in the character, of course, it's in the character. We have declared a first person camera component. So that makes sense. And in this part, constructor, where is it? Camera, camera, camera. There you go. All camera created related stuff. Yeah, awesome. Yep. Yeah. He's just explaining we're going to use the get forward vector from the camera position. A max distance stuff. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, all this makes a ton of sense. And now we're in interact. Okay. So we're back in. Can't remember. Was it? What was it? Oh, it's in CPP. Yeah, it's in character. Makes sense. It's right there. And since we need a start and end distance, yep. So we're going to do start vector. Call it start. He didn't add any value to it. Why are you complaining? Oh, it's never used. Nope, that's true. Let's do this. Arguing is that for me or for Mohammed? In my case, no, I'm not fussy. I'm just it's like 9 or 8:45 in the morning for me, so I've been streaming since 6 a.m. So I just decided not to eat because yeah, I wasn't hungry. But now I'm like really hungry. So I'm gonna end soon. I'm just gonna do a few more things. Then we'll end it for today. All right, so we're gonna create a new property. Let's do this. It's gonna be edit anywhere. It's like so. I don't need all of that. Do this. We're gonna do a float because we need a way to keep track of the max distance. Well, no, so yeah, so it's apparently Muhammad is fasting right now. So max interact distance, which makes sense. And I'm guessing we're going to add something. And he alluded to 300 units earlier, so I'm just going to add that, see what happens. Yep. All right, makes sense. I kind of got that part. So what we're doing is we're looking for the first person camera components. Oh God, wrong buttons. Doing that, then we're asking it to get component location. Yeah, makes sense. And from here, So I'm assuming the end would just be... Do I need to get the forward vector for that? Yes, because I need the direction, right? So I have a vector. Using the forward... Okay, I have a position. And using the forward, I'm telling it, hey, I want you to take this one and move it in this direction for this amount of units, which is the max distance thing we did earlier. And God, how did that work again? Am I meant to multiply? Right? I'm meant to multiply the distance I want to move, then add that on top of the vector, current vector. Is that how it's done? It's been a long time since I've done this. Yeah. I was actually on it. Spot on. So what we're doing is we're going to take the start position. I'm going to add that on top of whatever value we'll get from this calculation, which is so first person camera components. And it's already auto-completing for us. I just want to type it in. And then we'll get the forward vector. Come on, there you go. This multiplied by, what was it called? Already lost it. Max interaction distance, which is the 300 we did earlier. So assuming we have all of this, we should now have a way to later on do this, like get world and sweep something, right? Yeah, we're going to do a sweep in a second. I just need to keep track because time is flying by. And honestly, I should end it right here. I have 10 minutes until I do have to be at work. So I am going to take a pause right there and finish this off. I might not do it on stream. I'm not sure this is a content that people do appreciate while on stream. It is kind of hard for me to kind of being both focused on chat, talking to you while not completely staring in the distance like this. So we'll see. Maybe I'll pick it up on Monday, or maybe I'll finish off this part of the tutorial over the weekend. But I'm definitely going to make more progress on the narrative part over the weekend and make the adjustments I mentioned about probably removing the toy maker part of this and make it something else. It's definitely going to be more themed or the inspiration is going to be themed around Scandinavian stuff. I think that is cool. I have already an idea of the initial world I want to be able to start, the MVP level I want to make. So all that will be noted down. And Arjun's idea of making a blog, we'll see what I'll do with that. It means more time. I need to allocate more time to doing something else, or add to the project's complexity, I guess, which might not be possible considering the amount of time I have available. But we'll see. I like the idea though, so it might be something I'll do, prioritize. So yeah, but for that, I think that's it. And or you said something else. It's fine. Just make blogs sometimes when you're free. Then I can understand. That's fair enough. But I do like the idea. So whether or not I'll do this over the weekend or in the future, I think it is something I should do. Or I might just update. I do have an itch page or itch.io. So I might just update that page. That is probably the better approach. Less time needed to make the blog and then add the text. So I can just add it to the itch page, and I'll do what's necessary in the future. Cool. Everyone, thank you all for showing up. Let's see if we can't find someone to raid. Or do I have the time? I don't have the time to raid, sorry. Maybe next time. So I'm going to have to end it here. Thank you all for showing up. Thank you all for the good comments, the feedback, and just the blast. It's always fun talking to people about games and in general topics. So we'll end there. And that's the last one for now. I was just able to understand what I have seen from other unit stuff. Yep. That was me just... Thank you, Arjun, for showing up. Mohammed, hope to see you next time. And next time will be on Monday, 6 a.m. Central European time, which is my time. So I hope to see you all then. All right. Take care. Bye-bye.